Hey?
Hey,
If you don't ask a question, you'll never find out.
well, sir, it's just that you come here every day for lunch and gaze at this artwork, and I just wonder why.
What's the plaque over there say about it?
It's an image from 1910 of students posing with 3 cadavers and a skeleton in an unidentified American classroom.
Correct? And it's quite controversial. Do you know why?
Yeah, they used to use the corpses of executed criminals or of unclaimed bodies to study and further the advancement of medicine. It's a bit unsettling that they used to use their bodies without their consent prior to dissection. And look, they're smoking in the classroom, and one of them's even holding the head of one of the cadavers to ensure that they're facing the camera. Did they have absolutely no respect for the dead?
Medicine was still evolving from its traditional folk roots as to what we know it as today. You can look as far back as the 17th century to see that they have no humility or grace when they start to present the body. You would not be able to get away with the presenting or even touching the body the same way today. The underlying principles in any anatomy labs is that you must handle the cadaver with the utmost care and respect. Otherwise, you could be persecuted with the Human Tissue Act or the Criminal Act.
Exactly. So I'm not really seeing the artwork's appeal.
You can say that the deceased or the cadaver in the image impacted detrimentally on society. So why shouldn't it be within society's right to give the criminal's life purpose by furthering our knowledge to further society?
I guess that's what they were thinking at the time as well. Criminals were considered to be lower in society. But nowadays, criminals have the right to their body, and they have the right to say how it will be used after they have died. They are neither less nor more human than you or I am.
But did the victims consent?
Well, I mean, we can only guess what their crime was. But what about their family? Their family did nothing wrong but love them and just wanted to pay their respects.
Well, back then, if they were a slave, for example, their owner could actually sell them for scientific purposes to recoup some expense. It didn't matter what happened to the body after they were done with it, especially if they were a cadaver they would snatch from a grave. But today, once the cadaver has finished with its purpose or is no longer functional, we hand it back to the family. So then they can get that closure. What students need to realise is that a lot of trust is actually placed in us as physicians and students when we learn from a body that's been donated to science. We must respect that.
I guess so much has changed in the last 100 years. In 1910, photography was this new, exciting medium used to document everyday life, whilst now it's the norm. But I guess society has changed too. Like, consent wasn't really considered seriously until the 1970s. So back in 1910, they wouldn't have known any better. They would have thought that this behaviour was acceptable. But I'm disgusted in the behaviour of the Yale students who thought it was okay to pose with a cadaver for a selfie.
Society has changed in the past 100 years, but people haven't. Consent is valued very highly in today's standard, but students don't think when they take that photo sometimes. They don't think that if this gets posted on social media and the family sees it, they don't think about that, all the pain it might cause them. And what they don't realise is the impact of social media. Because once they take that snap and they put it up there, it's up there for good. Or let's just say you take it in a small group chat and it's private and closed. Somebody from that chat could report it to the school or they could report it to New South Wales Health. And again, you can get persecuted for that. They just don't think of the larger ramifications.
Exactly. These students are becoming future doctors. They need to be more aware. They need to understand that they used to be a mother, a father, a daughter, a son. Just because religion or God may have less importance in today's society doesn't mean people have lost their value in death. Death is still sacred because psychologically, the dead are still living in the memory of those people who are left behind. They demand and deserve respectful treatment by students and staff because their family have entrusted us to care and value for their body, to treat them with dignity and compassion whilst undergoing our training. Surely that's common sense.
Well, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. That's why we make you take an oath, so that it's an agreement to treat every life equally and to value every life. Otherwise, we start to become judge, jury, and executioner. And that kind of power changes people. And this also applies with the cadavers. They're not just a body, it's a life. This person has given you so much permission to learn from their body, permission to become the best doctor that you can be for the community that you will one day serve. And that's why we need to hold ourselves accountable. We also need to be able to call out our peers or our teachers if they're not holding themselves accountable for the oath that they've taken as well. So that's why I come here, so that I don't forget. Well, so now you know. What are you going to do when it's your turn?